After 5 years of waiting, the Sony A7S III was released to be the next low-light king in the S series. And for 8 months, we've been using it in our projects, testing it out in different scenarios. In this video, we're gonna share with you guys what it was like using it from our experience.
So, this video will not be possible without our partnership with Sony Philippines. However, we promise that we will be honest with our thoughts on the product.
So welcome to the video. My name is Hiromi and I'm a visual content creator here in BitLab Studios. Anything that has to do with camera or tech-related stuff, I'm the guy that usually handles it. So here is a quick backstory. We've been using the A7 III and the S2 for early works. They're light, good for photos and videos, and they're perfect for travel shoots that we used to do a lot before. We also use the Blackmagic 4K for big production works, and the quality here is amazing. But with the number of accessories needed to get the full potential out of this camera, it became a bit difficult for us to use during run and gun type of shoots. Then we heard about the Sony A7S III. This one. This is our A7S III, which we had for about 8 months already. We have actually another one here shooting the whole episode, and we want to share with you guys the pros and cons that we experienced from our previous projects. So to start things off, the first thing that we loved about this camera is the quality of footage you get from here is a huge upgrade compared to the quality you get from the A7 III. And one of the first few things that we noticed taking our first video was that the colors look more vibrant. Here's a comparison between a clip from A7S III and A7 III. So both cameras were set to a standard color profile, and you can see that they're pretty close to one another, but the S3 has better color and skin tone rendition. With the 10-bit color that comes with the S3, it's a lot easier now to color grade S-Log footages compared to the 8-bit color that comes with the A7 III. The 10-bit color can produce over 1 billion colors, while the 8-bit color can produce around 16 million colors. So if you want to create a drastic change with the contrast and then color, the 10-bit color can definitely provide that flexibility. So the A7S III came with a new codec, which we've been using most of the time right now. It's called the XAVCSI, or also known as the All-Intra or All-I.
Ano yun?
So to put it simply, the All-I records a lot of data, which provides a greater quality. And this codec is less choppy in editing softwares compared to the other codecs. This codec is great, but since it's capturing a lot of data, the memory size is huge. So we ended up buying more and more external hard drives just so we can back them up. And speaking of memory, in order for you to record with this codec, you'll be needing an SD card or a CF Express card that's fast enough to handle the data. For example, this is a Lexar SD card that we use, which is around 128 gigabytes with the following specs. The setting that we like to shoot at is at 4K, 60 FPS with 10-bit 42 colors. And with this 128 gigabytes, it gives us around 27 minutes of recording. So we always have to make sure that we have extra SD cards ready during shoots.
Hi, I'm Pao and I'm a senior content creator here at BitLab Studios. My specialty is VFX, but I used to operate the camera a lot before. And I must say that the autofocus of the A7S III has improved a lot. Mas accurate na siya, and it does a good job in tracking the face and the eyes of the subject, like what it's doing to me right now.
But of course, there will be moments when the autofocus struggles to operate, like when the subject is in a really low light situation. So even if you set the ISO to the highest number, it will have difficulty finding the subject, which I think is very normal kasi wala tayong light source. But realistically speaking, we always have lights ready for our projects, especially kapag commercial works, so hindi namin na-encounter yung problem na to. So okay lang. Another cool thing na nagustuhan namin sa autofocus ni Sony A7S III is the fact that we're able to change the focus speed. So it's very useful siya pag kailangan namin ng mabilis na automated rack focus or mabagal. So having that option is very helpful for us.
The A7S III has a new stabilization called the active mode, and this helps stabilize bigger movements like walking or like when you're in a moving vehicle. and it's very useful if you want to achieve shots like floating camera looks. It does apply a 1.13 crop, but since we're shooting mostly in 4K, it's not a big problem for us. And there are moments also when we need to get stable dolly-in shots, but don't have enough time to set up the gimbal. So this feature comes in really handy during those scenes. And remember this scene from the trailer? This was shot with me holding the camera and running after Pao. And we wanted to keep the shakiness because we wanted a sense of chaos, but not too shaky, so we used the active mode for this one. I don't think we need to explain why we like this. So the low light capability of this camera is obviously amazing. If we're gonna compare it with the A7 III, the noise is handled here a lot better. Especially with the dual ISO at 12,800, it can make scene like this with barely any lights seem brighter. For example, the Sony A7S III video launch that we shot, we only used our headlight and the moonlighting the subject, and as you can see, the noise was handled really well. But even with this amazing feature, we rarely go above ISO 1600 because in our experience, we usually have lights ready for our shoots. Still, it's an amazing feature to have just in case we need to go at a higher ISO. Okay, despite how heavy and how moody we make this section feel like, we only have actually one problem, and that is the overheating. But the overheating in this camera only happens for like very specific situations. We live in the Philippines where it can get really hot sometimes. And usually we have the Holy Land attached to our camera just so we can see what's happening here in another wireless monitor. And like I mentioned a while ago, we have this setting where we like to shoot at 4K, 60 FPS, at 10-bit color 422. So imagine all these factors placed together. The heat from the sun, all the processing that's happening inside the camera with the settings that we use and the transmission happening, our camera would overheat. But we've noticed that this problem doesn't happen if one of these factors are missing. So if all these three factors are there, that's when our camera would overheat. And it's really not a big problem for us because sometimes if it does happen, and after just waiting for like 2 to 3 minutes, our camera becomes usable. But it just becomes annoying when while shooting, the camera shuts off because of the heat.
On most of our shoots, we always use this one lens, and that is the Sony 35mm 1.4 Zeiss. For me, it's an all-around lens kasi it's not too tight and it's not too wide. So it's perfect for portrait shots, especially kung gusto mo ipakita yung background and yung environment. And it's also good for wide shots because we'll still have that compression and bokeh that we love. So there's another lens that I want to talk about, and that is the G Master 70-200 f2.8. So this is the newest lens that we have, and we use this lens specifically for travel videos, especially when it's physically difficult to reach the subject. And we also use this for product shots kasi wala pa kaming macro lens yet. If you guys want to learn more about the lenses we use, leave a comment down below.
Overall, our experience with the Sony A7S III has been positive. You know, it has the different features that's been very helpful for us with our previous projects. And if you're someone who wants to get into the industry of digital content creation or someone who wants to bring their visual output to the next level, you know, this is a perfect camera for you guys. So we hope that this video helped you guys learn something new about the camera and to decide whether if this camera is for you or not.
So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for you to get an update on our latest content.
And if you want us to review any specific gadget for content creation, please leave a suggestion in the comment section below. So thank you for watching.
Till next time!